Okay, tell me why it is when I decide I want to record a video, the neighbour decides to get the blower out and blow the leaves away. Yeah. Oh well, it is what it is. Well, yep, I'm back again. It is Saturday, the 15th of June, and it's a week since I did my last video. Sounds like a confession, doesn't it? It is almost a confession every week. I'm sure when people do their videos, you're confessing to your stitching sins. But I'm back. I thought I'd do this quick video today, given last weekend was 24 hours of cross stitch, and I'm going to stick on the bandwagon because, you know, I'll lose momentum on that bandwagon if I don't do a video today. So here I am on the 24 hours of cross stitch bandwagon. So I'll tell you what I did in that. It wasn't 24 hours, in 48. No. But we'll get to that in a minute. So I do have my notes, and whoops. And as I said, it is Saturday the 15th of June. I haven't got a lot to show, so this should hopefully be a quick video. But I did get one of my unicorn charts arrived. Yeah, so I can show you that. I will just do a very quick update on what I've done over the week. So I've really only got 3 whips, I think, to tell you. I've got to finish, which is really great. But yeah, I think I'm showing you three whips all up, I think, today, potentially. So not a lot. And I would also just like to say, welcome Marie to the world of Hobbitses. It's fun, isn't it? She's going to love it. Anyone who hasn't joined the quest for the Stitchy Ring, jump over onto that Facebook group. It is such fun. Nice and relaxed. It is brilliant. I'm still doing Magical Stitches and all the other bits and pieces. But yeah, it just is another little thing to add that stitch count to and have a bit of fun with. So yeah, if you're inclined to enjoy Hobbitses, get in there and do it. It's good fun. Enough of that. That's another bandwagon I want to jump on every now and then and beat my drum for. So yeah, it's fun. I've got my Doctor Who shirt on today. So another one. That's another one we could sort of have a little stitchy group for, but that would be a bit hard. After 13 Doctors, I think that would be very hard to do something with. But there's an idea for those that might want to use it. I'm willing to let you use it because it won't be me doing that. Okay, so last week I mentioned I was doing Sane Stitches Casino. Yeah, forget that. I'm no good as a gambler. I'm never going to win a lotto. I did sort of okay on the stitch count bit. It's when you actually put the bets on for roulette and Keno. Roulette didn't do very well on that, and Keno, out of my 8 numbers I got 2, so yeah, forget that for a joke. But it's round 2, so I'm back to poker. So I've just done my first hand of poker, and I can't remember when that finishes. I need to check. It might be today, so I probably won't get another hand in, but we'll see how we go. And then once we've gone through the second round, I can't remember what we do next, but I'm sure if I go back and read it, I'll find out. And there'll be prompts to tell me anyway, so that's okay. What else? I feel a bit convoluted today. I've got, I don't know, just, you'll have to forgive the ramble because I might get a bit convoluted today. I had a brain dump before after I wrote all my notes, and I think that's part of the problem. It's sort of like, ugh. But, and I haven't got a cup of tea. I forgot to go and make myself a cup of tea. But I've started recording now and I'm not going to go and do that. So that's okay. Maybe hubby might bring me one. That'd be nice. Anyway, so so I recorded last Saturday. So I showed you my Friday night stitching. I'm sure I did. I would have done, wouldn't I? Because I recorded on Sunday. Yep. So I won't do too much talking about Friday night. But Friday night, as part of the 24 hours of cross stitch, I did just do a few sort of hours. I think I did about 3. I've actually got the form here, but I'll have a look at that in a minute. Hang on, maybe I can get it quickly and I can tell you exactly. Here it is. So the wonderful Jen did do up a little template for us to use for, I haven't put it on the group because I keep forgetting to photocopy it, so that you could record what you sort of did over that 24-hour period or 48-hour period, and writing down sort of, you know, your project, your stitches, and how you were feeling. So Friday I did about 2.5 hours on Holiday Express, which I'll show you in a minute. Saturday I picked that back up again. I didn't stitch, can't remember why I didn't end up stitching on Saturday afternoon. Oh, of course, duh. Recorded my video, edited my video, uploaded my video. That took all day. That's right. That's what it was, in amongst doing housework, washing and stuff. So I didn't actually sit down to start stitching until after tea. So from 7 till 8 or thereabouts, I stitched on Holiday Express and I finished it. So I got all the beading done and it's completely finished. So I'll show you that in a minute. I then picked up Forever and Ever again, as I'd been working on that last week as well. So I did a bit more on that, and I actually sat up until 12:30 just stitching on that. I refused to go to bed until I had done and redone again part of the bird, but I'll tell you about that one in a minute when I get to that as well. On Sunday morning, after fiddle farting around and doing stuff in the craft room and putting some more washing on and whatever, I sat down about 11 and stitched on Forever and Ever again, and I basically stitched on that on and off all day and managed to get 5.5, 6 hours in before tea on Forever and Ever. Then after tea, 7 o'clock or thereabouts, I started on Louise and Henry, which was a new start, and managed to get 3.5 hours on that. And so for my total 24 hours of stitching, I actually did 16.5 hours if you count it all together. So yeah, unfortunately it wasn't quite as much as I would have liked to have done, but overall pretty good. But it's interesting, I noticed that how much, when you're trying to track your hours, you realise just how much you waste. Like sitting on Facebook doing something, or remembering that you are going to do something else, so you get up and go off and do it, and then you come back, and yeah, it's surprising just actually how much the world distracts you when you're trying to do something like that. But it's all good. Ultimately, I got it in, so yeah, I was pleased. Sort of. Would have been more pleased if I hadn't have had to redo my bird about 3 times on Forever and Ever, but I'll talk to you about that in one memento. So first we'll show you the finish. So here it is. All done, and look how shine. I love those. All nice and shiny. So I will eventually FFO that. I think I've got 3 or 4 of these now that need FFOing, so it won't take much to do. But yeah, there's lots of little beads in there. So I was very happy with that. So when did I finish? Yes, I finished. I was beading on Friday night when we were watching the Golden Compass for about the 3rd or the 4th time, and that was quite interesting, trying to bead and watch that and have a cat on my lap, and it was just like, yeah, whatever. So then on Saturday I finished this and went on back to Forever and Ever. I'll put that one over there, and Forever and Ever. Well, of course this is the Cottage Garden Samplings one, and I've been slowly working on this over a period of time, but we're getting there slowly. But it's beautiful. I love it, and I will eventually obviously do more on that. I'll put in a before photo of where it was at when I showed you on Saturday, so that will go in here. And this is where it's at now. Whoops, don't you see the bird? So my main focus for the weekend was the bird. And there he is there. So this bit in here, was it this bit? Yes, it was. So from the tail up to the back, I did that 3 times, because somewhere down in here I missed a row. And of course it wasn't until I'd come up and gone up the top and it didn't match. So I'm like, oh, what? So I had to pull all that out, and then I worked out where it was. So up we went again, and then somewhere up here I missed again, and back off again. Finally got it. And then I did all of that. And once I'd done that, I just said, that's it. I've had enough. my actual intent for the weekend was I wanted to finish the bird, but that's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with that progress. This is on 36 count Picture This Plus feldspar, and I'm doing it in all of the called for threads. So she's going back into her little cubby house for a wee while and will come out, I'm sure, again at some point. Then also on, so what did I do? Oh, that's right. I did all of that on Saturday. I did some of that on Sunday, correct. So yeah, so that was essentially Saturday and Sunday. Plus, obviously I'd shown you what I'd worked on the week before for that. I then had a new start, and this new start is, excuse the crinkling, Louise and Henry, and I'm doing this as part of the Sheep Loving Stitches sale on Facebook. It's in the Sheep Loving Stitches group, and I'll link the group below. And it's a lovely little house needleworks one. Such a cute little design. I'm doing this in DMC. I really couldn't be bothered going and getting all the Weeks dye, or no, is it Weeks and Crescent Colour Works or something? Can't remember what it is, but there's a mixture of them. So I just thought, you know what, it's all in DMC, and I actually don't have a couple of the DMCs, so we've had a little bit of a change, which I think I might have to change again. Just trying to think which way it went. I should have checked my photo before I did it. I think it is that way. I'm pretty sure I started at the top and worked my way down. So that's all I've got done. Just part of an O. This is on my hand tea and coffee dyed 28 count. It started off as a grey colour, and I chucked it in the tea and the coffee, and that's what it turned out like. I did try doing the Priscilla and Chelsea bake it, but it didn't work, so bugger it. I said, I just will do what I want to do, and then that's it. I don't know whether my oven didn't like it very much, and all I could smell was burning fabric, and I wasn't quite happy with that. So yeah, this is what we've got. Now this brown here is not the right colour, so I'm not sure whether I will actually keep that, because it doesn't quite show up. As if you'll notice, the wool, the brown on that does stand out quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is, I have ordered the right one. I've just done an order with JK on Facebook, JK's Cross Stitch Supplies on Facebook, and hopefully that will be here for sometime during the week, so I'll be alright. But I'm using 3864 for that bit, and it actually calls for 612 drab brown. So when I get the drab brown, I'll just have a look and see what I think, and see if it looks like it should be right. And for the white of the sheep, I'm actually using 712. So he's not really a white sheep, he's a creamy coloured sheep, because the actual design called for either a Weeks or a Crescent Colour Work for the sheep, and I just didn't have that, so yeah. But it is a bit hard to see it, because obviously there's only a small amount there at the moment. But that was my start on Sunday night. No fancy project bag for that one just yet. So yeah, so that was my 24 hours of cross stitch. So essentially, Holiday Express, which was a finish, Forever and Ever, which was not quite a goal finish but close enough, and a new start. So good week. I then went to Monday the 10th of June, and I had a day off work. I had an annual leave day booked, because I think I mentioned last week that for the next 4 to 6 weeks I'm going to be doing 2 jobs, because one of the other EAs is away. She's had a partial knee reconstruction, so she won't be back at work for a while. So by the time that period's been done, I'm going to be knackered, so I thought I'll just pre-plan and have a day off and just give myself some breathing space before I start doing that. So for my day off, I decided to stitch as long as I could that day, and I pulled out Christmas Carols, which is a CCN Cottage Country Cottage Needleworks pattern. My brain just doesn't seem to want to work today. So I've pulled that out. I basically needed to do something for the Magical Stitches homework for the Black Lake task, and the task was to get a whip that you love and stitch on that, because the elves have hidden what you love the most. As in that bit in Harry Potter, he's got to go down into the lake and rescue what he loves the most. So I thought, I could pull anything out for that, and then I thought, I don't know what to do. But I've got some whips that need some attention. So this is one of them. And so this is Christmas Carols, which is a CCN pattern. I started this one, did I start it last year? I'll put down when I started it. I can't remember if it was last year or this year. It might have been last year, or did I start it early this year? Can't remember, but I'll let you know. I'll put it down the bottom. Hadn't had a lot of work. I've done it, I've stitched on it a few times, and I am reasonably close to finishing, and hopefully it will be finished soon. So I'll put in a before pick, and oops, this is where she's at now. So this is stitched on, I did have the fabric name just here so that I would find it easily, and I've turned all my things upside down. Excuse all that scratchy noise. This is on Scottish Heather, 28 count Opal Brittany from Jodery Design. So this is one of her limited edition ones from the monthly ones. And this is the fabric, so it's got really soft pinks and greens in it. I had previously done all the words and the bauble, and also had started on, I think it was just that bit there. So this time round I have focused on doing the sign. I did the rest of the, I think it was that row that I did, and I've just focused on the sign. So there's lots of stitches in here, as you can see, and I needed 1,000 stitches for this task, so I thought, brilliant. Lots of simple, quick stitches. Hopefully I'll get 1,000 stitches in pretty quick. And I've only got 70 stitches more to do on this, and I'll have my 1,000 stitches done on this project, which would be fantastic, because then I can swap again. So I'll get that done today. Oh, as soon as I've finished here and done a quick edit, I'll get that done. So, pull that out a bit more. So yes, you can see, not long to go. Finish this, and where's the picture on? So yeah, finish the sign, do that, finish those baubles off, and come down here and do the bottom bit, and should be done. Be nice to get that finished. That'd be a really good finish to have. So essentially that is the stitching. Not a lot, but it is a week, so of course it's not going to be a lot. So yeah, so that took us through to, when did I, so I worked on again, so that literally was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days on that, 5 days on that. Today I will finish off that 70 stitches, and then I'll pull something else out, because I have to start my Hobbitses homework. So the Hobbitses quest this week, which is quest number 5 I think we're up to, is to basically stitch on 5 different tasks relating to a tale of loss. So this is, the scene is set with this one because after dinner at Bilbo's house, the dwarves sing the song, which is the tale of the downfall of the dwarves and how Small basically came and destroyed everything and sent them away from the mountain and everything else, and it all leads up to them taking off to go and find the hidden door. So the first task is people of the Dale, because a lot of people of the Dale got killed when Small took over the mountain. Obviously the dwarves, and the dwarves live in a dark place, so you work on a dark thread. So people is people, so work on something with a person in it. The dwarves is to work on dark thread or use dark material. Golden treasures, which is obvious, bling, metallics, beads, whatever. hidden door, so work on something with a door, so I'm sure I'll find something that's got a house. And a map, so anything you can relate to a map. So it could be something as simple as a map is in a book and a book is on a bookshelf, so I could use my bookshelf for that and have a dog knocking at the door to come in. She may open the door, she may not. So yes, so I've got to had to roll a dice for that, and it was a 20-sided dice. And you know what I mentioned about before, how I'm no good at being a gambler? Oh, here she comes. Hello. Come on, baby. What? Come on, coming up. Come on, let me come. Up. Not looking out the window. She's alright, she can stay. Come on. It's alright, she can stay. Come on. Hello, baby girl. Hello, baby girl. What? I know you're cute. I know you're so cute. What? You gonna stay, or what you doing? You can stay. You can stay if you want. Okay, park. It's alright, she can stay. Say bye, Dad. Say bye, Dad. You stuck here now? Yes, you are. You're stuck here now. Good girl. So now Mummy's going to get back to the story that Mummy was telling. Okay? Alright? Good girl. So we had to roll a dice, and it was a 20-sided dice. So my luck being my luck, I rolled a 20. So that was fine, except you have to then times it by 100, which means 2,000 stitches for me. So those 2,000 can be spread over all 5 tasks, as long as you do, I think it was a minimum of 20 for each task. It doesn't matter how you spread them out. So I'll have a play with that today and pick some whips to work out which that's going to be, and I have until the 21st to get that done. But the good thing about the Hobbitses is you can have catch-ups. So if I don't get them done, I don't stress. I just put it into the catch-up event for the month and finish it that way. What else do we have to do this week, Mitzi? We have to carry on with the next, whatever the next Magical Stitches homework will be, which should come out tomorrow, so I'll plan for that. I also have... You're going to get down. Okay, get down. Good girl. Down again. Quick. Okay, we're back. Hopefully dog is sorted now. Right, so... Oops, everything's falling down. So where was I at? Okay, so plans, that's right. So plans for next week. Start Hobbit's homework. Do whatever the next Magical Stitches task will be, which will be obviously something relating to the Tri-Wizard. I will do all my balance whip stitching for semi-sane stitches. So my Holiday Express was the whip I originally chose to do the number of stitches. I now have to do those 344 stitches on 3 whips or across 3 whips. So that will sort of tie in with Hobbit's homework. There's also just sort of finish working towards my 4,000 stitches for the Ultimate Cross Stitch group, so I'm almost there with that. I what else am I doing? Oh, Soulful Stitching. Okay, so Melanie's put up an extreme challenge. I like challenges. I don't always complete challenges, but I like challenges. So her extreme challenge is to have 15 starts between the 15th and the 30th of June, so basically start every day. So mini mania type thing, but the charts have to come from a magazine. Well, I have more than enough magazine charts, boxes of them, magazines. I even have the DVD or the CD of the Just Cross Stitch 10 years of charts. So I've got more than enough, and I've actually got a number of them that I wanted to start anyway from the ornament edition. So I thought, well, I'll try and get myself organised, and I have a dog knocking at the door again. Come on, Mitz, in you come. No, she's not coming in. So I've got more than enough to do 15 starts, and I did want to get some of these ornaments done this year and I haven't done them, so I thought, well, maybe I'll just use this time today just to quickly find at least half a dozen or so to get me through the week, and then I'll look for some more on the weekend to finish that off. If I get starts on them, then I can hopefully start finishing them. Nah, maybe, who knows. I also, this week, because we've had such crappy weather, what did I do with it? Here it is. I decided the other day, I'll just get all this back over here, decided the other day it's time to pull out some stitching at work. So I only managed to do it one day this week, which is better than nothing, but at least I did. And I just went and sat in the boss's office because he's away this week and next week. So I thought, well, I'll just sit in his office and I can use some free time, hopefully at lunchtime for half an hour, just to basically do those starts if I do decide to do the whole 15, or at least do something on a little small whip, just something that I can take to work. So I did actually do some this week, and I pulled out this one. I think I've shown you, it's quite a while since I have shown it to you, but it's this little one which came out of one of the Just Cross Stitch magazines. What year was it? It's the ornament issue 2018. It's last year's ornament issue, and it is called Red Berry Wreath and comes from Elizabeth's Needlework Designs. I'm not going to bother to try and remember when I last showed it to you and to find a before pic, because it could have been in any video in the last 2 or 3 months, but this is where, now I've changed the colours on the border, and I'm using a Jodery eggy bread. So I'm just using a Jodery eggy bread for the border. So basically my idea of something completely different, and I've just noticed a boo-boo at the back with all I had a knot there for some reason. So I've actually been using this as a stitching at work one anyway, but I've decided to take it back to work. So yesterday I just did that much. That's not bad for half an hour, 40 minutes, because it's pretty quick just doing that. Simple little border. So I thought, if I take this back to work next week and try and do it every day, or most days, that could be a finish, because it really, there's nothing to that design. It's the border and a few leaves and a few Smyrnas. It's nothing. So I will do that. This is also on my tea coffee dyed 28 count even weave, which is why it's all a bit, got to have a nice trim on the bottom, but it will be trimmed. It was just a piece that I had that was left over. So lunchtime stitching. Let's see how long that lasts. Yeah, I won't say. Some days I just don't get lunch, so it probably won't last for very long. Certainly once the two bosses are back in the office, because at the moment they're travelling, so life is a little bit more simple. But once they're both back and I'm running between the two of them, it'll be a bit different. But it'll be good. Okay, so also part of my plans is, I'm still working through, I haven't started really, but I've got to do try and match up some of my whips to the 24 hours of stitching monthly challenge, to the words 24. I haven't managed to so far be creative enough to fit any of those in, but I'm sure there'll be something I can work on and do something, 24 minutes on something. I've got to work out my bingo prep, so I've got to do that this week, because otherwise I'll miss out on playing bingo next month, and I don't want to do that. 21st of June is our shortest day here in Australia, because obviously we're in winter, which would be great because that means summer's on its way. No, not really, because we've still got another 2 months of cold. But in the International Hermit and Stitch Weekend Facebook group, there is a challenge for the 21st of June, which is the longest day in the Northern Hemisphere, to do a longest day marathon. So this has been going for a couple of years now. Joe, Serendipitous Stitching Joe, She has been doing this via her blog for must be about 3-4 years now probably. So she's doing it again and she's put it in the Facebook group. So I might participate and do something along those lines, being it's our shortest day. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Because you don't have to do it specifically on that day. You can do it the next day or the weekend, because it's the 21st will be Thursday or Friday? Friday. So we'll just see. We'll just see. What else do we need to do? Oh, I have picked my new start for Joan Elliott July. So it's going to be this one. I thought I was going to do a lady, but then I thought, no, let's do something different. So I've picked this one. So this is, what's it called? Father Frost, and it came from the Cross Stitch Gold issue 97. So I'm going to do that one. I had to post this in the Sane Stitches group for, there's a Bling It Up or something sale, I can't remember, for next month. So I've pre-posted that so that I can say I'm doing that. And there's lots of beads and gold and stuff in that. Don't know if you can see, obviously it's hard in the picture, but yeah, there's lots of beads, there's gold thread and stuff. So I need to, I've got the DMC that I was missing on order for that, and I just need to then find the fabric. I'm sure I'll have something in my fabric stash. So that's that. What else do we have? Oh, yes. I got some charts. I know that's unusual. They're very unusual, but I've got some charts. So I mentioned last week that I had participated in another auction that Marie from Just Add Needles held for somebody. So I got one of my unicorn charts out of that. That was the main one I wanted. And then I just put a couple of the $25 bids on a couple of other ones and was lucky enough to get them because nobody else bid on them, which was good. I didn't really need them, but I'm happy to have them. So the first one is Garden Verses. So I got that one. Nobody else wanted that one. I don't know why. So pretty. Waiting for Ships. So I've been wanting that one for a while, but this is not the unicorn. But now I've got that one. Deepest Love, another one which I've sort of thought about getting for a while, but just haven't done. So now I've got that one. Enchanted Dreamer. Again, another one which was sort of on the bucket list, but you know, I didn't have to have it. I was never too worried if I didn't get it, but now I've got it. So I'm happy with that. And this is it. So this is one of the ones that I have been looking for quite some time. The other one that is really at the high point of my list, I can't wait to get that one, but this was number 2. And this is Christmas Flourishes. I absolutely love this one. And now I've got it. I am so happy. Yeah, I just have to start it. So this will be started very, very soon. So it won't be started for this month because I'm starting Queen Mermaid this month as the birthday sale with Kim and Belinda. And then we've got Joan Elliott July. So she might be started in August, or I might leave her for my Christmas start yet. I'm still thinking about it. But then, because I've got 3 for Tea, I'm starting in October for my birthday sale. So yeah, but it won't be long before she will be started this year. So it may be that she's my Christmas start, but she's just stunning. I just love that one. So that was a nice little extra haul that I really shouldn't have done, but I did. It is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. As I said, stitch from stash. Gone out the window. Okay, now, on last week's video, Distracted Stitcher asked me a question, or basically sort of commented on how do I keep track of all the sales that I'm doing. And I thought maybe I'll just not really impart any wisdom because there ain't none in this body, but I'll just sort of say what I do. So as I mentioned numerous times at the beginning of the year, I created my own little stitching journal, and I've been a bit slack lately you know, when I first started doing it, I was doing, you know, doing all these little pretty things on it all over the place. But I haven't done it as much since the beginning of May. I've got a little bit sidetracked on it, but I still write sort of what I'm doing, but I'm not putting the homework in as much as I was. But this is, I've essentially decided that what this is I'm just going to record my Magical Stitches stuff in it. So that's partly why I stopped doing it, because I got involved more with the Hobbitses one and everything else. And I was thinking, oh God, I haven't really given myself a lot of space in this to record everything. So this will stay my Magical Stitches one. So now I've decided that I'll go back and just fill this with what the homework tasks were and everything, so that I know that I've done them and whatever else. So Magical Stitches. But I still note the number of what I've stitched and everything on the daily thing as well. But, so this only gets updated now, sort of like at the end of the week. I don't update it every day like I was doing it. But what I do is at the beginning, so like about this time of the year, Stitch Mania, Garrett and Katie start putting together or thinking about the sales for next year. So that will come into play anytime sort of in the next couple of months. I'll start putting up next year's sales. So as soon as they come out, I just accept them all, and then I decide later on which ones I really want to take part in. And then what I did this year is good old Excel is my best friend. Assuming I can find what I'm looking for. It is here. It is here. This is all the rubbish. Here we go. So what I do is I go to Excel and I make a little spreadsheet up. So I'll put in all the different cells for the different groups I'm in, and I colour code them, and then I just sort of do like a Gantt chart type thing and just mark off sort of whether it's, because obviously the monthly ones are put up, and then I just go down by date order. So they've got cross stitch finish line ones, I've got Stitch Mania ones on that, and a couple of other different sort of Facebook groups that at the time I was in. So this doesn't have my Magical Stitches or anything like that in it. I don't necessarily partake in all of those, but I do that. Then I will put little notes about what I might be thinking of doing for that. But what I do now, that was sort of what I do all the time, but then what I do is I transfer that at the beginning of the month to one of these, like a daily planner. And I just handwrite this. I did start, because these are PDFs that I've got from different websites and planner websites. They're great freebies. Always happy to have freebies like this, because I could never design anything like this. So this is my main one for the month, and then I will just write down on here, and I generally just put them in pencil, the sales, so mainly the Stitch Mania and the cross stitch finish line ones. And I'll note sort of whatever the ultimate cross stitch group is, and if there's anything like my sheep loving one and the 24 hours of cross stitch, I'll just make a little note on those. And then the Christmas and Halloween sales for what the monthly ones are in Stitch Mania, which also tie into the blogs that I haven't updated. Don't tell anyone. I haven't updated in an awful long time. But I sort of also note, you know, where Stitchathon is, International Hermit and Stitch Weekend is, just so that I can be aware of those. It doesn't necessarily mean I follow some of the sales and I do everything, but it just, if they're there, it just prompts me for what I'm doing. So now, the next thing I do is I never used to count stitches until I got involved in Magical Stitches. So now I'm doing that. I've now do the counting cells in Ultimate Cross Stitch. I never used to worry about that. I used to do the non-stitch counting ones, but now I do the counting ones, because I think if I'm counting stitches, I can count those. So then it started making me think, well, how many stitches a day am I actually doing? Do I have weekends where I get more done, or days that I get more done, or whatever? So I transfer my total number of stitches to this at the end of the day, because it's just nice to see. And then at the end of the month, I'll write down here what my total number of stitches is. And it's interesting that how it plays out. Depending on the width that I'm doing, I can sometimes get more or less, depending on the long weekend. Just depends. So I do that. There's just lots of paperwork, I know, but then I'm a paper girl. I can do most things electronically, but I just prefer paper at the end of the day. So then, this is my Magical Stitches one. So I just write down what the task is, and then what I've worked on, and what the stitch count is, the running total, the stitch count. So it also shows where, you know, if I'm not working on a sale for Magical Stitches, then I can see that I haven't done anything on that day. But it just gives me a way of seeing at a glance what I'm doing with that, which then I can transfer to my book later on. And I also just make a note here if I've worked towards extra or yearly credit. So that's all well and good. Sane stitches, of course, is another one, and this time round, being casino, I've done one specifically so that I can track my casino one, and I find it easier to keep track if I've got them a little bit separate. So Sane stitches. I know you're probably thinking this girl's stupid. Then I've got my Hobbitses one. So this is the Hobbitses one. So I'm just tracking very simply. If I've done, so you can see I'm not yet started stitching towards that 2000, so I'm just making a note that 000, and then that way I've it's easy to do it that way. Now I have written down the quests here, and so obviously I've lost some space, so hopefully the next quest is not too big, but that's all up. Very simple on that one, just it's a running total again, very, very simple stuff. 24 hours of cross stitch. I'm using Jen's thing, but I haven't done much with that. With the Hobbitses one, we're also stitching towards Mordor and walking towards Mordor, but I haven't done much walking towards Mordor, so I haven't left home yet. Well, I have. I'm about 20 kilometres down the road. So, but stitching towards Mordor, I just do a running total for this, and I'm also using this as my running total for the Ultimate Cross Stitch group. So I just write whatever my daily one is and keep my running total. So I'm almost to Mordor. Currently at 7,000 stitches since we started doing that, so almost to Mordor, getting there. Well, actually almost to Rivendell. This is the Rivendell leg. It's not to Mordor yet, it's to Rivendell. Sane Stitches has a solar stitching for the year, so I'm tracking how I'm doing with that and just writing. So I've done all the small planets so far, so I'm currently working towards Eris. And I've done 8 of them, and I'm on my 9th planet, and then all the big ones. So the excuse me. So then you've got the asteroid belt, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, the Sun, and Jupiter is the biggest one. So that is what I use to just keep an eye on most of those little tracky things. I also have, and I'm just going to find it again, it's gone. I also have a daily tracking one, which I use. Now this is another one of the free planners that I found on one of the websites somewhere. If anyone wants any of this, let me know and I'll just give you the link. So I think this came from Stacey Creates or something. I just put them double-sided, but essentially I just use them for a daily tracking and just count up my stitches. So write down what I've done and all the different things. So I just do running totals, and then just make little notes down here if I'm doing anything in particular that I need to keep a track of. And of course on the side I've just written down the casino ones and lunchtime stitching and stuff like that. So I fill this out every night essentially. It's good for the brain because I try not to use a calculator. Sometimes I have to. Sometimes I just use the calculator to check, but I'm trying not to use the calculator. So essentially I just, I've counted the stitches for the day, write it on, and then do my running totals. Forgot something. I'll put this little bit in to the bit I was talking about my planning. Counting stitches. I count simply by using a post-it note. As simple as that. And you can see, depending on what I'm doing, I usually count when I finish a thread or a colour. And that's as simple as that. Nothing high-tech in my counting of stitches. And that's it. so that's pretty much what I do. I do also still have some spreadsheets that I run as well. So at the end of what I'll do at the end of this month is I'll show you what else I do with my spreadsheet. So I've done a spreadsheet where I actually track how many days I worked on my whips, and I do up a little graph, and that was supposed to go on my blog, but I haven't updated my blog for so long. But I'm still doing that, so I'm tracking, you know, if I've worked on the whips for X number of days, whether it was a start in the month, a finish in the month, or a whip, or an extra extreme challenge, or a year of whips. So they're all color coded as well. So I update those generally, you know, when I go to work. I just put the USB in, quickly update that, and it's done for the day. So, but pretty much that's it. I track all my starts, all my finishes on a spreadsheet as well. And I keep that handy generally, so that when I do my videos I can put my information down the bottom. But yeah, so that's it. So that's how I do mine. So very much a paper and pen girl. I love pretty things like that to write on, pretty little calendar things. It's probably a little bit over the top. I could probably do it on one sheet, but then I just find it, for me, I just like to have each one of those particular challenges on a separate sheet and then consolidated on one. And then I think that's it. Reading, I have done some reading recently. I just finished Josephine Cox's The Runaway Woman, which was a nice little soft, happy ending read. But I haven't really been doing any of the proper reading for either the Hobbitses challenge or the Magical Stitches challenges. So I need to get my head around those, because the end of the month is coming and I probably haven't done any of those, but that's okay. I'm not stressing about that. I'm really in it for the stitching, not the reading. But I've got about 5 books queued up on my Libby app at the moment, some nice little cozy mysteries, so they will be hopefully read in the next few weeks. But other than that, what else did I have to say? Nothing much, I don't think. I think that's probably it. It was a bit of it's going to end up being longer than I thought, because I think when I cut it before, when Mitts came in, I think I had about 20 minutes, and I think I've got about 20 minutes here, so it might be about 45 minutes by the time I put it all together. So hopefully that will be up today. I'm just going to spend some time working on that now. It's almost lunchtime, my stomach's starting to grumble. So I'll go and have lunch, get this uploaded hopefully today, and then it'll be back to stitching again. Who knows, I might be back next week. We'll just see how we go. But otherwise, if not, I'll be back around the end of the month, so I can give you an update on what's happened for the rest of the month. So happy magical stitches, happy Hobbitses stitches, happy whatever you're stitching. Enjoy whatever you're stitching. Have fun, and I will see you again soon. Take care, happy stitching, catch you later, bye.